This is macOS Ken.
1 week to WWDC, news around iPhone in China and the US, and shooting zombies on iPhone. It is Monday, the 2nd of June, 2025. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from macOS Ken. Brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Insta360's new X5. Get an invisible selfie stick when you buy an X5 standard bundle at store.insta360.com with code macOSCAN. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSCan. If it is Monday, must be time to revisit what Bloomberg's Mark Gurman said on Sunday. Mac Rumor sums up some of what he had to say in this weekend's Power On newsletter. According to that, we can expect nothing big. Nothing along the lines of 2023's introduction of Apple Vision Pro, nor last year's promises of Apple Intelligence. Gurman says there's no new hardware ready to roll. In addition, Mac Rumor says some Apple employees think this year's WWDC may be a letdown from an AI standpoint, according to Gurman. He said that Apple will do little to show that it's catching up to leading companies in the generative AI space, including OpenAI and Google, and Apple's shortcomings could become even more obvious. As for what he is looking for, Gurman expects Apple to put the developer back in the developer conference with an update on Swift Assist. That was one of the things announced at last year's WWDC. For developers and onlookers alike, the company is expected to highlight anticipated redesigns in the next big round of operating systems. It may also standardize the names, dropping the mix of 18, 15, 11, and 2 for blank OS 26 across the board. With a move to standard numbers, you might think Apple might drop the California landmark thing for macOS. Gurman says not. A separate piece on his expectations from my download blog has the Bloomberg scribe saying that the California name thing for the operating systems will be macOS Tahoe. You know, aside from where I grew up, over a few stints I have actually lived in California for more time than any place else. I don't get the whole California thing for macOS. Jaguar, leopard, tiger, lion. Books, TV, and movies make these things mean something to most people. Ventura, Sonoma, Monterey. I don't think those mean anything to people who live outside the Golden State. They probably don't mean a lot to a lot of people who live in the Golden State either. But, you know, keep paying those image consultants, I guess. Traditionally, attendees don't know who's going to be on John Gruber's talk show live at WWDC. This year, though, we know who will not be there. Anybody from Apple. In a Daring Fireball post on Friday, Gruber said, "Ever since I started doing these live shows from WWDC, I've kept the guests secret until showtime. I'm still doing that this year, but in recent years the guests have seemed a bit predictable. Senior executives from Apple. This year, I again extended my usual invitation to Apple, but for the first time since 2015, they declined." Mac Rumors figures the Gruber post earlier this year taking Apple to the shed for overpromising and under-delivering on Apple Intelligence may have cost him his guests. Well, at least he'll have something to talk about with whatever guests he does get. While he says he wanted to set everyone's expectations accordingly, Gruber says the turn of events is invigorating and that he thinks Apple's absence will make for a fascinating show. $50 a head if you happen to be in San Jose next week. The show's at the California Theater Tuesday, the 10th of June at 7 p.m. April iPhone sales were up the tiniest bit in China, according to a piece from 9 to 5 Mac. Well, according to the China Academy of Information and Communications Technology, according to a piece from Reuters, according to 9 to 5 Mac. The Academy report's not out yet officially, but Reuters has seen it, and 9 to 5 Mac has seen the Reuters write-up. According to the report, on the report, foreign-branded smartphone shipments in China totaled 3.52 million units in April. That's just a hair up from 3.50 million in the same month last year, but should still count as good news considering the abysmal March report. That was the one that had foreign-branded smartphones in China, aka iPhones, down 50% compared to March of 2024. As for where the credit goes, I'd have guessed iPhone 16e. While that may have played a part, the Reuters 9 to 5 combo credits price cuts through major Chinese e-tailers. Now, there was kind of a frustrating story from the South China Morning Post over the weekend. According to that paper, Apple faces another year of iPhone shipment decline in China as Huawei gains ground. Seems somewhere between possible and probable that that is the case, but there is one troubling bit worth remembering. Though based in Hong Kong, the South China Morning Post is owned by Alibaba Group, which is based in China. Nationalistic tendencies run high in China, so even if there wasn't more to back this story up, just being printed in Hong Kong's paper of record could help sway opinion and expectation. But there is more to back this story up. South China Morning Post is working in part with numbers from market tracker IDC. That firm has iPhone shipments in China falling 1.9% this year due to a few factors, including ongoing competition from Huawei, a general economic slowdown, and iPhone being boxed out of consumer subsidies from the Chinese government meant to aid in recovery from that general economic slowdown. That said, South China Morning Post does acknowledge a couple of bright spots for iPhones due in the next few months. Those include heavy discounts during China's upcoming 618 shopping festival and the anticipated iPhone 17 launch with significant hardware upgrades. While the IDC report with which South China Morning Post was working did have a lot to say about China, it had a decent amount to say about US smartphone sales as well. It's not as good as what they were saying a few months ago. Anthony Scarcella, research director with IDC's Worldwide Quarterly Mobile Phone Tracker, was quoted in the report saying, the U.S. market is forecast to grow 1.9% in 2025, but it was impacted from the ongoing U.S.-China trade war as growth was pulled down from 3.3% due to increased uncertainty and tariff-related price increases. And maybe write that 1.9% in pencil. The same report had Nabila Popol, senior research director with the same section of IDC, saying, since the 2nd of April, the smartphone industry has faced a whirlwind of uncertainty. While current exemptions on smartphones have offered temporary relief, the looming possibility of broader tariffs represents a serious risk. Recent signals from the U.S. administration on potential tariffs hikes on smartphones manufactured outside the U.S. further complicate long-term strategic planning for OEMs. Additional tariffs of 20 to 30% on U.S.-bound smartphones could pose a serious downside risk to the current U.S. market outlook. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, Insta360 and their 360-degree camera, X5. Though the actual season has not yet begun, summer is upon us. Excitement, adventure, and really wild things await. Catch every bit of it from every angle with the Insta360 X5. Out for a couple of months now, the new unit features 8K 360-degree video and enhanced low light performance for all angle shooting, day or night. Larger sensors deliver 8K video with amazing clarity, including night shooting that yields unprecedented detail. The included lenses are made from tougher optical glass, giving it superior drop resistance, and these things go deep. You can shoot underwater down to 49 feet without a dive housing. Whether you're catching a game, catching some waves, or just enjoying the world around you, catch it all with the Insta360 X5. Head to store.insta360.com to see what they have and use code macOSKen for a free 45-inch selfie stick with your X5 standard bundle purchase. The pull disappears from 360-degree footage, leaving people to wonder how you get the shots you got. It's a $24.99 value, but it is free for the first 30 people who go to store.insta360.com and buy an X5 standard bundle with code macOSKen. Shoot every angle at once. Get your free invisible selfie stick when you buy an X5 standard bundle with code macOSKen. Don't forget that code macOSKen at store.insta360.com. If your friends on WhatsApp went dark over the weekend, they may just have old iPhones, as had been telegraphed. A piece from 9to5Mac says Facebook-owned WhatsApp dropped support for several legacy smartphones yesterday, Sunday, the 1st of June. According to the report, the messaging app will only work on iPhones running iOS 15.1 or later. Devices stuck on Android 5.0 or earlier are also being dropped. Hard to know the number and types of Androids killed in the move. For iPhone, the piece says iPhone 5S, iPhone 6, and iPhone 6 Plus are now out of the WhatsApp mix. The John Hamm-led Apple TV Plus series Your Friends and Neighbors has stood creator Jonathan Tropper in good stead. Apple Insider says Tropper, who also serves as the show's executive producer and showrunner, has signed a third exclusive television deal with the Cupertino streamer. His first Apple deal saw him join the show C as showrunner. His second saw work on Your Friends and Neighbors, as well as yet unaired titles such as the Anya Taylor-Joy-led limited series Lucky. Responding to the deal on the entertainment site Deadline, Tropper is quoted as saying, "Working with the entire team at Apple continues to be the single most creatively fulfilling collaboration of my career, and I'm looking forward to bringing Lucky and other new projects to the platform while making more seasons of Your Friends and Neighbors." The force is strong with this one, it seems. In addition to the Cupertino TV deal, Apple Insider says Tropper is currently working on a script for a planned Star Wars movie. And finally today, another milestone for iPhone in film. A piece from Mac Rumors has Sony highlighting the use of iPhone in the upcoming horror flick 28 Years Later. That's the sequel to 2007's 28 Weeks Later, itself the sequel to 2002's 28 Days Later. With a budget of $75 million, the piece says this summer's installment will become the first major blockbuster movie to be shot on iPhone. While the piece acknowledges 2015's Sean Baker film Tangerine and 2018's Unsane from Steven Soderbergh, those were limited release, low-budget titles compared to the anticipated blockbuster. Danny Boyle is back in the director's chair. He directed the first film in the series, as well as such titles as Slumdog Millionaire, Trainspotting, and the Aaron Sorkin-penned Steve Jobs. For his latest, Boyle apparently got technical assistance from Apple directly. The piece says the film was shot last summer using the iPhone 15 Pro Max as the principal camera, along with additional equipment such as custom rigs, aluminum cages, and lens attachments. The setup that's getting the most attention is the 20-rig iPhone array. This provides an effect similar to the bullet time effect made famous by The Matrix. But this one's portable, and to read Boyle's telling, it's used to horrific effect. Makes sense, it's a horror movie. Jack O'Connell and Ray Fiennes lead the cast. Written by Boyle and Alex Garland, 28 years later opens wide on the 20th of June, beating Apple's intended summer blockbuster F1 to the finish line by 1 week. macOS Ken, brought to you by me, and sponsored by Insta360's new X5. Get an invisible selfie stick when you buy an X5 standard bundle at store.insta360.com with code macOSCAN. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSCAN. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can find me on Mastodon, macOSCAN at mastodon.social. You can also send me an email, info@macosken.com. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.